Super Bowl Sunday came and went. That was I was really tired when I started watching the game, and so I was pretty lounged out on the couch. And uh, when kickoff happened, I think it was the 49ers had two or three really great plays right out of the gate, and then it just seemed like neither team could. I'm not a football guy, so I apologize. Neither team seemed to be doing much except just it was all a defender's game. There wasn't much happening on offense, and so I fell asleep. And then I was kind of in and out through the first two quarters, and I can't remember if it was 0-0 when halftime started or if 49ers had three on the board. I don't remember. I think maybe they had one field goal up there, but then I tried so hard to stay awake through the halftime show. I kept dozing off. Mary kept shaking me, saying, "You're snoring." uh, One, it's not my style of music, so my interest level in watching Usher was pretty low to begin with. I have nothing against Usher, but yeah, it wasn't my thing really. So, and if anybody out there who has some awareness, putting on a production like that in a on a football field for 15 minutes, there's a lot of planning and everything that goes into that. It has to be very fast, so it's this beautiful ballet of chaos that happens in order for that to work. So make sure you guys appreciate what's going on behind the scenes to make all that happen. But then, of course, it became a real intense game there towards the end and going into overtime, and uh, with Kansas City making that touchdown within, I think there was like 3 seconds left in the game, became pretty exciting. So, excuse me, all this attention that was given towards Taylor Swift, it's kind of funny to watch social media responding to their opinions on that. Look, I think if you know, football players are kind of high profile uh, people. They're in the public eye a lot. Good morning, Rick. And so they're going to get some media attention anyway because they're playing with the NFL. And then if one of them is dating a celebrity, which Taylor Swift is the huge celebrity at the moment, yeah, of course the media is going to pay attention to that. It's uh, there's no way around it. It's gonna that's that's what people are gonna be wanting to see, this little fairy tale thing that's happening, and so they're gonna pay attention to that. So good morning, Greg. So yeah, I mean, if he was dating some movie star, they'd probably focus in on her as well. So the other thing, and you guys can weigh in on this, is this picture floating around of Travis Kelce yelling at his coach. I can't remember the coach's name, but everybody is so fixated on this one picture. Why? Because he's playing a very intense game and he goes over and he's yelling at his coach. Now, this brings into conversation, as so I'm noticing, of players having respect for their coaches. And I do agree with that. Um, it's not taught soccer. And I'm not searching for an excuse for Travis Kelce, but it just seems so odd that the culture just wanted to focus in on this picture of him yelling at his coach. With everything else that's happening in the world, that there's so much ugliness happening, why that picture? Somebody brought up the fact that because they know that they're going to be attention on Taylor Swift, a lot of younger viewers would be watching. Um, just to, not because they like football, but because they want that quick little glimpse of Taylor Swift in the stands. Which, Okay, if that's the case, fine. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. But I'm wondering, had Travis Kelce not been dating Taylor Swift, let's say wasn't dating anybody, and he yelled at his coach, would that photo had one even been taken and circulated had it just been a moment? And it happened that fast. And I don't know why he was yelling at his coach. It was just a moment that happened and really quick, and some photographer caught it, or maybe they took a still from some video. I don't know, but it just seems odd that they want to find some kind of uh, something negative to kick around for a little bit. You guys think that's the case, or just the media is just looking for something negative to kick around about somebody for a moment? I think that's the case. you know, the media seems like their job anymore is to find dirt in a snowstorm. I've never been in that intense of a high profile game. I don't know. There's a lot of pressure there and a lot of emotions. How about when you see two football players on the field and they start shoving each other? That's not respecting your opponent. Tensions. I'm not saying that it should be acceptable. I'm just saying, do we really need to make that big a deal about it? What say you? Go ahead and if you feel like talking, go ahead. I'll have a sip of coffee. You guys having your coffee today? I hope so, because it's delicious. Media circus. Yep, Rick. It's definitely a media circus. It's funny what we meaning we as in general public want to pay attention to, and so the media wants to shove it more and more and more in our face. Let's just keep making those things popular, right? That's the way that's working. As far as the halftime show goes, I think Bobby Borg had made a post yesterday, I think. If you don't know who Bobby Borg is, Bobby Borg had been the drummer for Warrant for a short time, and he is now a music business instructor and coach in Southern California. That's how they make the cash. Yep, it is, Rick. Definitely how they're making their dough. I think Bobby Borg had said somebody like, I don't know, Jay-Z or somebody owns some production company that works with the Super Bowl, and so that's how we have Usher and Rihanna and groups like that. I, for one, would love to just see a band, like a 4 or 5 piece band on a stage, and they entertain all of those people without all the. I'm not a gazillion guys and gals dancing or all that choreographed thing happening. That is little of interest to me. But that's just Fred Fisher talking. That's just Fred Fisher talking. I'm sure some of my rock and roll musician friends would love to see a band up there doing their thing. Prince is still my favorite Super Bowl entertainment. Uh, that guy could be entertaining no matter if he was vacuuming the carpet. That would be entertaining. So that's what I'm going to say about the Super Bowl. Let's talk about concert ticket prices. I actually don't go to very oh, Chris is saying, I heard you got your audition for Prince once. Yes. So um, several years ago, before Prince died, it was April Fool's, and I had made a post that said, I can officially let the cat out of the bag. I had hired a um, personal manager, music manager, and that I was leaving in a couple days for Minneapolis, and I was one of 3 drummers that were auditioning for Prince. And I don't think I said anything other than that, but I put the date, you know, um, 4/1, whatever the year was. It was a little cryptic, but I had all these people liking and hearting that post, and a few hundred congratulations on getting this audition with Prince, and that I could do it, which was awesome. But then I felt so terrible because it was just a joke that was happening. Um, I think Chet Slater, who had mentioned it's you can do the gig when everybody believes you in a post or something along those lines, and I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, that would have been a dream gig to have, was to play for Prince, definitely. Um, but it was just an April Fool's joke. Greg says, I thought the halftime show was great and totally relevant musically. I mean, they were all legacy artists. Yeah, that is true for sure. And I'm not knocking it at all. Not whatsoever. It's not my bag, baby. To sound like Austin Powers. Is that, I think that's who said that. Um, yeah. Rick says, speaking of Prince, I have Denny Jaggard, Prince's front of house, out on tour with me. He's watching and he says hello. Oh, hey, Denny. Um, yeah. See, this is where I am with my life. throwing on throwing on glasses. Yeah, I know a couple of people who have worked for Prince in the past. Steve Taylor, who's a front of house engineer here in Boise, who is also Lou Graham from Foreigners front of house. He used to live in Minneapolis, was involved with Prince for a little while. And then Gail Chapman, who lives in Boise, used to be Prince's keyboard player, I think in the early 80s. Um, I think pre-revolution. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah, Prince was an amazing artist for sure. Yeah, Rick, Steve is great. Steve is one of my favorite. I have a handful of favorite front of house engineers, and Steve is in that group for sure. Um, Rick, if you're comfortable saying, who are you touring with right now? And if you don't want to say, you can. That's okay too. I don't know. That's why I asked. Yeah. So I was going to talk about concert ticket prices. And the only reason I brought that up is I was saying, a corporate gig for, I have another friend who lives in the Salt Lake area who owns a big production company, and he was on tour, I guess you could say, doing a bunch of corporate stuff for United Airlines uh, for like a whole summer or something. It was pretty crazy, just the amount of stuff involved just for what they were doing with that. And there was no band involved, so pretty extraordinary stuff for sure. So concert tickets. Just before I got on here, I was scrolling along through Facebook and saw that Michael W. Smith is coming to Boise. I think he's playing the night or 2 nights before in Pocatello, and somebody had made a comment. Rick says it pays nice money more than rock and roll. I bet. I bet. I have no doubt. I have no doubt. You get in that corporate world of stuff, and there's some nice opportunities floating around in all of that. All right, back to Michael W. Smith. Somebody made a comment on the post about Michael W. Smith coming to town. Paraphrasing here, of course, it said something along the lines of, I guess there's no difference between Michael W. Smith and Taylor Swift as far as concert ticket prices go, and that he could remember when he saw a tour with Michael W. Smith and Carmen and one other Christian artist who I can't remember off the top of my head. They would do the concert for free, and then they would take an offering and pass the bucket around to collect money to pay for the show. Was that 1981 when that happened? It is 2024, in case this person got lost. Have you seen the price of gas or diesel in recent months? Man, traveling anywhere is expensive, much less putting on a concert. Renting out a concert venue. They're playing at the Morrison Center. Now, I don't know. I can't throw out any number, but what would it cost for uh, a the name escapes me. Promoter. Good grief. How much would it cost a promoter to rent out the Morrison Center for a night and all of their people that they use, somebody that manages the building, custodians, people working, to show you to your seat. How much does that cost alone? Just that. I don't know. I'm guessing it's in the thousands of dollars. Or to reserve Extra Mile Arena for a night. It's not, they're not giving that away at all. So you got that, you've got your travel expenses, however many people they're touring with. I think Taylor Swift tours with around 300 people. That's a huge production. It doesn't cost free to put these productions on. Rick, who's on here, who's out doing these corporate gigs with Denny, who used to do front of house for Prince. It costs money to travel. It costs money to move people around the globe to help put on events. So this person, complaining about a ticket price just kind of blows me away. Like, does this person not know that it costs money to put gas in their car and drive to work and back? And I think the ticket prices for Michael W. Smith was like $89 or $90, which, again, it's 2024. There isn't greed necessarily involved. I'm pretty sure that Michael W. Smith would prefer to make money at his job, even though this is a misnomer that people think Christian artists work for free because it's a ministry or something like that, which all of that's great. These people still have to make a living. So I don't know about you guys watching, but how many of you are willing to go do your job today for free or for a week of your work for free or a month? You can't sustain yourself in that whatsoever. Rick, see, gotta grab my embarrassing readers. Yeah, but don't let it fool you. The promoter's still raking in the dough. Yeah, that's for sure. And that's his job, right, Rick? He's in the business of making money. That's why it's called the music business. It's not called the music throw your life away. So, yeah, that promoter wants to make money. There's an there's a there's an opportunity there for everybody to and the promoter has responsibilities too. He's got to promote the show and make sure it's successful so that he gets his money back from his investment, because they're not just giving that away to the promoter either. The promoter is taking a risk, and they're trying to see what the interest is of people buying concert tickets is going to be in these different markets that they go. So there's a lot of factors that used to be able to base that on album sales and radio play. Well, album sales are uh, a thing of the past. So you're looking at Spotify playlists and things like that. Um, radio is still relevant to a certain degree, but you've got a lot of online radio stations happening and playlists, and there's a lot of different ways we consume music now. So that being the case, these artists don't have all of this money coming in from album sales like they used to either. So they got to make up this difference in some way. So how does that happen? Through our concert tickets. Not anymore. Mostly everything is streamed now. Yeah, right. I think I said that. Maybe you were responding as I was saying that, Rick. Good morning, my friend Chip. Let's see. I think that's what Rick said. Yo, I love that, Chip, because that's what I always say when I get on the deck show is, yo, what's up, boys? I've been trying to catch up on on watching. Good grief! Oh, Chip, who was the drummer that was just on? Oh, I can't believe his name is escaping me right now. I saw him in concert just a little over a year ago. Oh, this is where my mind is, people. Uh, yeah. Good grief. Anyway, it'll come to me. So concert tickets. Billy Cobham, thank you, sir. Billy Cobham. Yes. I knew it was in there somewhere. Yeah, so I saw Billy Cobham at the Egyptian Theater here in Boise in October of 2022. Yeah, I went with my friend Peter Magadini, and Peter and Billy knew each other really, really well. And so when Billy's concert was over, uh, Peter Magadini said, "Hey, let's just hang out for a while." And so at the end, after the meet and greet was all over and done, it was Billy Cobham, me, and Peter Magadini all hanging out for a little while, which was pretty awesome. So yes, Chip, I'm trying to catch up on watching that episode. I haven't got past Rick's drum playing intro, so I got to commit some time. But yeah, I definitely want to catch up on that. So it's kind of funny going back to this guy saying that Michael W. Smith's and Taylor Swift's concert tickets were one and the same. Well, $90 to see Michael W. Smith versus I don't know how many hundreds of dollars for the cheap seats for Taylor Swift. I don't know. But comparing the two seems a little crazy, and that guy could probably cut back on his Starbucks trips uh, a couple times and go see Michael W. Smith. It's all where we put our value, right? So tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Bum, bum, bum. Do you gentlemen have plans for your gals for tomorrow, or your gals for your guys? Uh, our household obviously has been pretty occupied with my mom's illness and then her passing away on Tuesday. I've been a little absent-minded as far as Valentine's Day goes, so I think that Mary and I are going to definitely try to at least go out for dinner somewhere, maybe, um, possibly. So I know for Valentine's Day, for a lot of people, that is like a day people got married or a day that they consider their first date or the first time that they committed to each other. And some of that is it's the same for me. Um, Valentine's Day of 1995 is when Mary and I officially were dating. Um, so we've been together for 28 years. We've been married for 27, um, which is cool. I love her. I love her. If you guys saw, I had posted or shared a reel of her singing with her band from last Saturday night. her band Casio Dreams put on their own concert at the Knitting Factory, and it sold out. They sold out their own show. A local band sold out their own show at the Knitting Factory. It was pretty extraordinary, and there's a little clip of my wife singing Alone by Heart, and it's pretty cool. So really proud of her. Excited for her band. They've done a lot of work, and they're an 80s synth pop tribute band, and they do very, very well wherever they play. So it's pretty exciting that she's involved with that. But going back to Valentine's Day, so I was friends with Mary for a long time, and then we started hanging out more and more. I lived in a house by the train depot with some roommates, and we all knew Mary, were friends with Mary, so Mary was around and hanging out quite a bit, to where she and I started hanging out more and more and more. And one day, now Mary's maiden name is Reed, and her middle initial is E. And so back in the early 90s, when you had caller ID, it would say the last name first and then the person's initials. So when Mary would call my house, it would say, "Read me." That's the caller ID for Mary Elizabeth Reed, was "Read me." So we always thought that was funny. But on this particular day, I think it had to, maybe it was sometime in the winter, and I called her up and I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" She said, "Nothing." And I said, "Why don't you come over to my house and pick me up and take me out to dinner?" And so she did. Which was really cool. And I don't remember where we went, but I was starting to have feelings for this gal. Started hanging out more and more and more, and feeling a romantic pull towards her. And now I'm remembering too, even before that, we had these huge trees in our front yard, so there was this big pile of leaves. And in the fall, I was feeling frisky, and I tackled her in my front yard and all these leaves, and she had all these leaves stuck to her. So I was brushing the leaves off of her back and her butt. Yeah, and so it was a way. It was a way to touch her and get away with it, you could say. So then I asked her to take me to dinner, and then her birthday is in January, so I went to the Albertsons at Vista and Overland, and of course I had solicited some advice from the girls I worked with at the airport, and I had asked, I wanted to get Mary flowers. What kind of flowers should I get? And I think they said, well, roses at that point, red roses might be too much. And then I think they said yellow would be a sign of friendship. So I bought a yellow rose, and I bought her a nice card for her birthday, and this was in January of '95. And I had it all planned out to take her out for her birthday. I had the card and the flower placed in the front seat of my pickup, and so that when she came over, she would be surprised by this flower and this birthday card. Well, she was kind of acting weird when she came over, and a little standoffish, a little short in everything that she said, and started making me a little bit nervous. And so I said, "Okay, well, let's go out." And I went to go to my pickup, and she said, "No, I'll drive. I'm going to drive." So she walks to her car. So now my plan is screwed up. So I went back to my truck, and I grabbed the flower, and I grabbed the card, and I got in her car, and I said, "Happy birthday." And she went, more flowers, and threw the flower on the dash of her car. And so my ship was sinking, so to speak. I was like, oh, this is not going the way in which I had hoped. Rick, have a great day, man. I know you got to go work. So she was being very standoffish about that. So a month later, on Valentine's Day, things had transpired over the next month where I had poured my heart out to her, and I don't know, maybe she felt sorry for me. But Valentine's Day became our official starting to date day, and then we got engaged of June of 1996, and we were married in September of 1996. We had originally intended to move to Nashville. I had made all these plans to move to Nashville. I went to Nashville that beginning of June to find a job and look for apartments and all of that kind of stuff. And I ended up playing with the band that was working with Bill Aucoin, who was the manager for Kiss. And so I didn't move because I put my eggs in that other basket. I think looking back at things that I might have regretted to a certain degree, not moving to Nashville is probably one of those moments. But I was glad to have the opportunity to work with Bill Aucoin with that band, and then later on, he also worked with my band Midline. So learned a lot from him, but it wasn't anything that launched my career, so to speak. So maybe moving to Nashville would have been a smart move, but we didn't go, and here we are, 28 years later.